Well, we have a 20-minute section for so the tragedy passed away, and he was, of course, so we may have people coming in to comment, but anyone from here wants to talk about very briefly, please, their memories now on work they've done, I think, would be very welcome to come up to the podium and see you. I'll have a very brief introduction. Well, then, connects now. I might as well take my own experience. Now, I worked in the 1970s, early 70s, when I was graduate student at the University of Bradford in the UK. And it was extremely helpful to me as putting me on the right course to understand what the main issues were for graduates at that time, which is very different when it is and on several subsequent visits, I actually ended up publishing two papers with them, and feel very proud that I was able to work with it. And do we have people online?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
that's
Yes.
so.
Okay.
I keep this.
Yes, that's good. So I, okay, I can see. So we've got Hans-Peter Seidel online. Do we have anybody else? Just Hans-Peter. Okay. Hans-Peter, I'm just going to do a brief introduction to Malcolm, and then I'll get you to say a few words. Um, so Malcolm Sabin was a very interesting character. He had a wonderful life where he was incredibly knowledgeable. He never had a faculty position. Can you believe that? And he did all this incredible research work. Um, he was worked in Cambridge in England. How do I get the next slide? Um, he actually had the first paper in implicit modeling in 1968, which was a local technical report at British Aircraft Corporation, which I did talk about in my keynote. So he basically started that field within computer graphics. He also, of course, famously 10 years later, had the first subdivision paper the same year as Ed Catmull and Jim Clark had the Catmull-Clark subdivision, which has set off an enormous field within computer graphics. He had many other incredible contributions. He graduated from the University of Cambridge with a first-class honours degree in mechanical sciences. His professional career began with an apprenticeship at British Aircraft Corporation, hence that first implicit paper. And he later shifted to research and teaching. He had various, he didn't actually have an academic role at university, but he did visit a large number of places where he would give lectures and he would do research. Sorry, not my computer, can't work. He was honoured with a number of very high honours in Britain. The Royal Society, of course, is the top society in science. And he got the Institute of Mathematics and its application a gold medal and made him a fellow. And that was, he delivered a speech of acceptance at um, there we go. Thank you. Sorry about this. Not usually incompetent with these things. Um, and actually, he was the only person to have ever won the IMA's gold medal who did not have a permanent academic position, um, and one of the only people who was not a professor. Already told you about my experiences. Uh, okay. Um, various people And the first person I'm going to call up is, I believe somebody's here with Tomasz Varady had a copy of his handwritten thesis, his handwritten PhD thesis. Does that, is that, uh, is that here? Yeah. Did you want to put it in front of the camera so at least Hans Peter could see it? Don't know what's going on there. There it is. Right. Okay, very good. So we can actually see his handwriting there. It's absolutely great. Um, and I'm going to go very quickly because there's a lot of people whom have sent me stories, and I will say that all these stories, and there's a lot of quite long ones, will be put together. I will put them together. I will send them around to all the people to edit, and they will go in the Computers and Graphics journal as a memory of Malcolm. Maybe I could get Hans Peter to say a few words since he's present even over Zoom, and then we'll move on to people in who are actually here in the theatre. Hans Peter, would you like to say something? Yep, yep. Oh, yeah, yeah. Great. Thanks very much, Hans Peter. Maybe go back to the slides. But first of all, before I get back to the slides, the people who emailed me, maybe there'd be other people in the room who would like to say something, have some memories of Malcolm. Anybody? No? Okay. It's probably only senior people that have that. Yeah. Just um, Alan Rockwood, of course, worked with Malcolm, and he recalls visiting Cambridge in 1982 when he was working for Evans and Sutherland, and Malcolm um, was instrumental in helping, as you were saying, as a mentor to Alan Rockwood, who later visited him several times more. I won't go into all the details of everyone because otherwise we'll run completely out of time because there's quite a few. So Neil Dodgson worked with Malcolm Sabin for 20 years. Um, and he says he was always generous with his time, mentoring younger researchers, providing his insights. Um, and again, mentioning the fact that he had this unusual career without a permanent academic position and a lack of desire to seek one. And many people have commented that Malcolm was without ego. He was happy to help anybody, work with anybody. And in order to give him some kind of income there, for about 3 years, Malcolm Sabin ended up as Neil Dodgson's research assistant, which was, as he says, my very senior research assistant on a research grant that actually he wrote, that Malcolm wrote, but Neil was the one with the faculty position, so he had to be the principal investigator. Um, Tom Cashman, also from Cambridge, mentioned an incident. This picture is from the Royal Society when Malcolm was receiving his gold medal. And he mentioned that Malcolm was invited to speak at his old school, his old high school, uh, but was wondering exactly what kind of talk to give. So Tom suggested that he give the same talk that he'd given at the Royal Society, which uh, Malcolm actually was a little bit reticent on this because he wasn't sure it would fit the style of the meeting. So he started the talk by explaining that if people didn't like it, they should blame Tom, which I thought was quite an amusing incident. Of course, everybody loved his talks because they were great. Jarek Rosknak, who was online a little earlier, also mentioned in his acceptance speech for the Kunii Award that he'd worked on J-splines and had many talks with Malcolm, who suggested some very interesting variations to what he was doing. Lloyd Bart, who was Malcolm Sabin's postdoc in Cambridge, um, and describes as an amazing person. His year spent with him in Cambridge was unbelievable. Malcolm was an incredible mentor, very positive, very curious, never judging, always with new ideas and directions of research to investigate, always taking people as they are. Had a huge impact on my career, my way of tackling research. Malcolm was friendly, doing research in depth, the eyes of a kid, enthusiasm, amusing, curious, celebrating discovery of new knowledge of way of solving complicated problems. He also sent me some technical stuff, which will be great to publish in computers and graphics. I should also explain that Loic was also my postdoc after that, hence the fact that we managed to get a couple of papers out, which included Malcolm, who always came up with the most incredible suggestions. And it was a case of, why didn't I think of that? That happened a couple of times. Um, Ursula Augsdorfer, who's now in Graz, she did a PhD with Malcolm. I'm not quite sure how it was with Cambridge that Malcolm could supervise PhD students without actually having a faculty position, but he did. And she speaks very highly of him. She shared an office with Malcolm for 6 years. And people will speak about his remarkable scientific achievements, of which there are plenty, and she shared a couple of memories, but I'm not going to go through them all. Except I'll just give this one little one. He only came into the office about once a week. He would arrive having spent his bus journey from Ely, which is the neighbouring town to Cambridge, thinking about some problem. He'd walk in and say something like, "I'm just an engineer," which was always an amusing understatement. But he thought of something on the bus and have a hunch this might work, and then jump on the whiteboard and just covered it in equations that he dreamt up on the bus. And they always his hunches worked out and produced yet another advancement in science.
Yes.
Oh.
Just end
Well, in that case, we can keep to time very easily. I should have maybe gone into a few more details. Anyway, as I say, I have these memories. I think there are a few more that somehow didn't make it to my slide, and I apologize to those people who sent anything in. It's been a pretty busy day, and but I will make sure that these are put together. And what I intend to do is to send them to interested parties. My summary of Malcolm's career and influence on many researchers and get as many people as I can to contribute to it. And I'm happy for others to edit the words that I've put there for him. Hans Peter, do you have any last words? So he was like of this television curiosity, whatever this is what I remember as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for attending the session. If anybody has anything to contribute in the future, please let me know, and I will be putting something together for computers and graphics. And thank you, Hans Peter, for calling in. Yes, thanks, Ogun. So I think that brings us to the next session. Thanks a lot, Hans Peter.